The attacks came 2 days before U.S. President Bill Clinton visits Colombia to discuss anti-drug aid. Some human rights groups are urging Mr. Clinton to withhold aid until Colombia takes firmer action to stop paramilitary forces. As CNN's Steve Nettleton reports, Colombia's urban war has created a climate of fear in the country.
Police and army troops respond to gunshots on a busy downtown street. They find a man slumped dead in his chair, a circle of spectators growing around him. The victim's wife finds him seconds later. There is no suspect, no motive, no witness who will talk. And it is not the only killing this day. 7 others are shot dead by morning, one of the deadliest waves of violence to hit this city in recent years. Nestled on the scenic shores of Colombia's most important waterway, the Magdalena River, Barranca Bermeja serves as the capital of the country's oil industry. But beneath its striking natural beauty, a sense of terror is sweeping the city.
Barranca Bermeja ha vivido muy cruelmente.
Barranca Bermeja has lived very cruelly in terms of the consequences of this war. Here we have been living in a state of death, of disappearances, of torture, of massacres. It grows every day.
Barranca Bermeja has become the latest battleground in a decades-old civil war. A struggle between leftist guerrillas, right-wing paramilitary squads, and government forces, one that has long raged in the jungles and mountains elsewhere, is now being fought on the streets of this key Colombian city, one killing at a time. Barranca Bermeja stands at the heart of the Middle Magdalena, a strategic river valley rich in gold, oil, and most recently, coca, the plant used to make cocaine. In the words of the regional ombudsman for human rights, whoever wins Barranca Bermeja wins the entire Middle Magdalena. The front line of the battle for Barranca Bermeja is marked by railroad tracks. On one side is the city's commercial district and most of its residential neighborhoods. Across the tracks spread suburban shantytowns called communes, ruled by guerrilla militias. In the communes, residents live under a law of silence. They try to avoid all contact with guerrillas, police, and the army for fear of being viewed as a collaborator for any side and ending up on someone's hit list. They say they are trapped. Too frightened to leave their neighborhoods, they live cut off from the rest of the city by a social stigma.
The problem is they have divided the city in two. We have the old Barranca and new Barranca, good Barranca and bad Barranca. We are, according to Barranca Bermeja society, we are in bad Barranca. To everyone there, we are guerrillas.
The paramilitaries first struck the communes in May 1998, when armed men in trucks rolled into the neighborhood. They killed 7 men and took away 25 others, most of them from a party on this football field. All those kidnapped are now presumed dead. The massacre sparked international condemnation of the paramilitaries, forcing them to change their strategy to what locals describe as selective assassinations. Instead of launching an open military offensive, paramilitaries and guerrillas now wage war through hired killers, gunmen who zip through the city on motorcycles to murder suspected enemies. Human rights groups say more often than not, civilians are the victims. The killers are almost never caught.
Todos los crímenes que conocemos.
All the crimes we know of and those described to us by families of the victims, we pass directly to the public prosecutors and state attorneys. Of these crimes, none are ever solved. The impunity here in Barranca Bermeja, as in the rest of the country, is 100%.
The police blame the people for refusing to cooperate.
The people here are frightened. They say nothing to authorities, even though in many cases they know where the killers came from. But they remain quiet. They prefer to bury their families and not make the smallest comment to help authorities in their investigations. That is why the city is practically in total chaos, because the people are completely intimidated.
In the Gardens of Silence Cemetery, scores of friends and family have come to bury Odell, a 27-year-old man who was gunned down in the street. As mourners pay their final respects, they reveal their desperation. Off camera, one mourner expressed his frustration with the violence. Last year we marched and said no more, he said, but it keeps happening. Again, again, again. Steve Nettleton, CNN, Barranca Bermeja, Colombia.